funds available and people willing to run. Question?
And I didn't mention it, but when looking at excess hours, I broke that data down by gender, by race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status, and they're very, very different patterns. So it's real important when you're looking at your data, drill down as granular as you possibly can. That way you can plan the right interventions for the right group of students.
I have a question. I'm Beth Tyler from IU Northwest, up in the Northwest region, and we are a 100% commuter campus. 46% of our students are part-time. I don't think we've interrogated whether it's because they work or if they have other family obligations. But could you speak a little bit to the notion of how to incorporate a degree map process for a part-time student? I'm also interested in the whole consequences question, but maybe we could just start with that.
Well, there are a number of programs around the country that had a lot of part-time students. And the ASAP in New York is probably the best known, but now it's spread to quite a few other institutions. And what they found is by holding meetings with all their part-time students, why are you part-time? Well, I'm working. Well, what's your work schedule? They then said, okay, could we help you by providing additional financial aid and block scheduling your classes so that you could work in the afternoon, the evenings, or the mornings. And they went from about 12% graduation rate of part-time students when they rolled those into full-time, and they did provide additional financial aid. But I can tell you that providing additional financial aid will pay dividends because you'll collect more tuition in the long run. And they went to a 55% graduation rate. So sometimes we make assumptions about what students are capable of doing or what they think they're doing because we're not thinking in a different way. I mean, you know, it was only 2008, 400 academic administrators were surveyed. 2008, not one had student success and graduation on their top 10 concerns. Not one. The good news is in 2011 it made the number 5. So it's a good thing that's having those conversations. But we tend to think so much in traditional ways and thinking about how we're doing it when we can offer students different options and perhaps increase their probability of success. A part-time student can stay on the map, they're just going to take a lot longer, but you know from data, the longer they're in school, the lower the probability of success.
Other questions?
Kathy Parkinson, IU Kokomo. The data nerd in me is kind of interested in your methodologies. Can we get your slides? Can
Sure.
we get a copy of how? I'd like to ask some of those questions at my own campus, but I'd like to see how you looked at it.
Sure. I'll tell you one thing I was surprised at. I wanted to know, I was a faculty member, I had the same attitude, you know, why is that student not here anymore? They didn't work hard enough. I was astonished that 65% of the students who didn't return were in good academic standing. 1/3 of those were A and B students. The faculty really grabbed that, and they really started putting some programs in for high-end students. Even on open admission campuses, my experience is somewhere around 50% of the students leave in good academic standing. And my interpretation of that is we are doing something to those students to push them away, and all of the things that you heard about, you know, changing requirements. I should have mentioned that chemistry. There's no way you could have done. 24 of those courses are only offered once a year. I mean, that's absurd. You know, so a student gets slightly off track, you now put them a year off track.
Thank you very much. Very good presentation. I wanted to ask the process by which this kind of mapping system would apply to students entering into remedial education and the challenges that we continuously hear regarding underprepared students walking into the college campus. And if you can maybe address the mapping process to that, please.
I think another speaker is going to. I'm a big fan of co-requisites, which I think you're going to hear about. And from my own experience tutoring students who have just finished a GED, they are not, you know, they're 28 years old. They're not going to sit there and take 3 remedial math courses before they can start college. It's just not going to happen.